On and yeah. Okay, here we go. God damn it, Jay. I'm trying to mute his mic. There we go. He chose the exact second we started to start playing
The
with
camera's frozen, and the look on your face is delicious.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metal Lab. We got a nice little foil crinkling to start the day. If you're not awake, I hope you're awake now. So today we don't have any particularly special guests, although we do have our usual friend Jay Solomon, somewhere in his kitchen toiling around. We also have new joining the team, another member of the Greater Toronto Area meta players. This is Mike Payne, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Next week we do have planned on a guest. There was a little scheduling issue that didn't get addressed soon enough. So this week we're going to be talking a little shorter than normal, but we're going to be talking more today regarding styles of play, new ideas we might have come up with in the past couple weeks. Jay is rejoining us. Holy crap, what are you doing to us today, Jay?
There are instances of Jay right now.
One of your mics just went nuts on us. Welcome to Metal Lab, the show where we deal with technical difficulties. Alright, so let's get into talking about some more Heroclix meta stuff. We've actually, a group of us have recently started a meta planning group or meta discussion group in our Heroclix community in the Greater Toronto area to try to kind of bring up the level of meta play in our area. We have an issue with a lot of casual play, and we are trying to get more competitive environments set up, maybe more competitive, safe environments, to say the least. And in doing so, we've come up with some new ideas. And while we've been coming up with a lot of our team ideas in the Facebook group, you can tell when each player has got a different style of play. So I want to take a gander around the group. I think I've done enough episodes complaining about the style of play that I actually suck at or hate using. But let's make the fans a little bit more familiar with our guys' styles of play. What's the preferred way to play the game? We'll start with Mike because you're new to the group. What's your favorite style?
I really like. I do like tempo. I really do like tempo, but I like a reduced value tempo. So making it so that there's a secondary character that that can still do damage and still is moving around the map as well. But lately, I've been playing around with Weapon of Quard a lot.
Never heard of him.
I heard he's pretty good.
He's okay.
Have I used him before? I don't know. I'll have to go to the videos.
Yeah. I think he's the only person who has played him more times at 135 than at any other point value. And by that I mean I've only played him at 135, never at full points. And he won me a Warlight, so suck it, everybody.
He's great at either point value. He really is very good overall.
I mean,
Yep.
As far as the most well-rounded tentpole option there is, he's got everything you need. He's got full movement, charge, or running shot, and depending on your opponent's team, you have that option of doing whichever one makes your team win faster against your opponent. The ability to choose the power, again, just adds to that fact of if a Pulse Wave is going to win you the game, a Pulse Wave is what you choose. Psychic Blast is going to win you the game, use Psychic Blast. If Super Strength with an Ultra Heavy Object is going to win you the game, Super Strength with an Ultra Heavy Object is what you choose. And because of that versatility that he has, he's definitely one of the prime choices for singling out a single figure in your team. And he is hard to deal with. I think it's 18 printed defense with Impervious. So, yeah, I don't blame a tentpole player with regards to using him. And I will never catch me actually bad-mouthing the style of play. It's not something I'm 100% comfortable with when I play with it because I hate holes. You know what I mean? And when I build a team, it's like, okay, what does my team do against this, and this? do I have something for that? Okay, but if I do this and I lose that, I'll spend like a week trying to build like the perfect team when it comes to trying really hard. And then when I build the perfect team, it's always by accident. So like my team for nationals, I thought like I had pretty much every hole covered except for con exclusive belt items, which I have none of. So when I played against the second weapon or card I played that weekend, it was just it kind of went, oh, night vision goggles to, and then my day was over.
Yeah.
But yeah, stylistically, you'll often see me play a swarm team, where I will have numbers on you, and I'll try to push the leadership as hard as I can. Also, though, I will play gimmicky/tricky teams. So if it's not a swarm team, it's a team that does a lot of things that either stop my opponent from doing things to me or make my opponent's team work against him. So if those of you who aren't familiar with the channel, you've now got a quick update as to what's going on with me, and we have just lost Jay. So it's me and Mike talking to each other now.
Little one-on-one. It's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's this?
Oh, is that a yeah, big pink dinosaur. I'm gonna make sure I play mine the second I get it on the channel. I'm gonna mention your name a couple times. Okay, Mike, look what I got. I'm gonna play it on the same team I play an Ion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to have Ion with her for sure.
Maybe I'll play a 1,000 point game with Amber, and I'll have every single entity that I have on it at the time.
You could do a 400 with 4 of them on 4 characters.
Yeah, I could do that too.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah. I was loving. I took Weaponer with me to Nationals as well, and placed in the top 32. And I used him with Ophidian, possessing him. And I found that there was a pretty good little loophole with Ophidian's outwit ability, because it's an outwit steal. So you're taking the character's power and using it in your advantage. And so what I would do is I would outwit their defense ability. Like as I would charge in, outwit their defense ability at the end of my turn, and then switch over to poison, and then switch over to sidestep to free action get away, and then do another attack on them. And it just was devastating. That's a team-based destroyer. It's yeah. New Mutants team-based was probably my most challenging matchup in at Nationals, just because of the way the tempo worked, but it still was able to defeat it.
My first match was against the New Mutants team base, and my team, it was a bloodbath. It was an absolute bloodbath game that I didn't realize. One of the things that can really get under your head or in your skin if you're not paying attention is that because the New Mutants team base will take figures off, the team base is still sitting there not being scored. So even if you kill all the things that he pops off, you're forgetting that you just scored up to 200 points worth of stuff there, and then it's like, wait a second, I came close. I didn't even realize that until well after the fact. I also, came to a tired revelation in the middle of the second round. Like, I would have won if I didn't critically miss that last attack. I've probably said that about 80 times now on Metafit or on Metal Lab now. So I'm pretty sure people are tired of hearing it.
But that was true of everybody. I mean, there were a lot of roll-off wins that happened there. Drake Conrad ended up losing on a roll-off. He ended up placing third, and he was fighting, or I believe that he lost against Patricia Lamb in a roll-off at the very end. I'm fairly certain that that's what happened, but I know that he did that 2 other times earlier in the actual tournament. So it was incredibly tight. All of the competition was very, very tight.
It's one of those things I've never heard about so many roll-offs in a single year of this game until this year. I mean, it's been absolutely nuts. There's like 3 or 4 of them at Worlds that I had heard of. I don't know if there was more than that. This is a metagame of very careful, methodical play, which a lot of people who are not big thinkers in the game and rely on throwing all their bodies at your opponent don't like, and it's being evident in a lot of comment sections I've seen of games that I've played, games that were filmed from Nationals. A lot of people don't like the style of play with regards to high-end strategy where these are the same people who are probably cheering, oh, it was awesome to watch Ghost Rider versus Ghost Rider blasting each other in the middle of the mat.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those things where when you get to a different level of play, you start to realize that a healthy metagame is hard. It's hard to play in.
It is. Yeah, it's really, really difficult. But if you're not playing a metagame, if you're just playing straight, you're just not competition at that point.
Yeah.
You know? You have to be breaking the game in order to be playing at that level.
Absolutely. So, still sticking in the style, the idea of style and play. This week, me and Amber are actually starting up an attempt at making team bases interesting for a week, as this is going to be team-based week for us. Amber is doing her rules episode on the team-based post-nerf. I'm going to be talking in Metafix about the team bases themselves. We're probably going to play a game or two with team bases on the mat. Hopefully they'll go a little longer than our first game with team bases, because we played a game with the team bases pre-nerf, which lasted, the whole video was 15 minutes, and I think the game was maybe 4 to 5 minutes of the video.
That's fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then it was, like, back when we did that video, it was 1 action per 100 points on the team base.
Right.
Which is not the case anymore. It's 1 action for every 200 points. So, but I guess I always like to hear other opinions of it. We have one guy who, in our regular play group, is often played team bases, which has allowed me to learn the rules for them very carefully, because I know the rules with our play group. Have you used them? Are you familiar with them? Do you like them, hate them? Do you hate seeing them across the table from you?
You know, I started playing in February, so I'm a pretty new player overall. I've played against them more than played with them. I'm pretty familiar with the New Mutant space because I was training with a friend of mine, and that was his main team was New Mutants Copycat, and that's a nasty team base. Like for 200 points, that's amazing, fully loaded, popping off characters left, right, and center. It's really tough to play against. But I'm not that familiar with the X-Men Gold team base, the X-Men Blue team base, and even the zombie one that just came out. I actually got one for a friend, and he's pretty happy with that. But yeah, no, they almost seem like they fit into the you have to have money to play with them kind of category. I mean, some of them do come as prizing in events, so you have to be able to win them. But generally, most people who aren't winning the events will have to spend quite a bit of money to actually accumulate everything to be able to play with them. So I think it fits into that category as well. I like stuff where you can actually kind of throw it together, although that kind of contradicts what I was saying about the entities, which I am in love with right now. I have purchased one entity, and I had the craziest pull in not this past weekend's tournament, or yesterday's tournament, but the previous one. I pulled 2 entities in one tournament, which is just unheard of, totally nuts. And then another one this weekend. But in terms of team-based stuff, I'd love to play with more of it. But keep in mind that I'm new too, so some of that stuff is just it's fun to play with something that's new. It's a new toy for me. Yeah.
Okay. I've had a chance to play against a zombie team base now twice. Once I let it live in order to see how it actually functions, because it was what we do with our group is the small games will be the games where it's a new set comes out. So we managed to acquire the zombie team base very quickly, and the first day that Guardians of the Galaxy was out, we had a zombie team base, Amber playing the Inhumans, and myself playing the zombie Doctor Doom, Rocket Raccoon, and one of the generic 45-point Regellians, I think.
Right.
It was just kind of on the board. And my sympathy let it stay alive, but that thing is, if you let it get any momentum, it's like it's like a train. It's slow to get started, and once it starts going and going and going, it becomes a problem. It's one of those things where the hard counter to the zombie team base is much like the old game. You got to alpha strike that thing, because the second it starts rolling, if there's a mole man on that team base, 3 characters are coming out. You got to deal with 3 more characters as well as the zombie team base.
Right.
And it is a little faster moving than the things that are on it. So it caught me off guard. The most recent time I played against it was at full points, but it was a ridiculously large game with 5 players on the map, so I never really got a chance to engage it properly. and he was playing the zombie team base with the Galactus head pool and a power battery.
Oh, I saw the image of that. Yeah, that looked like
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was playing Guardians of the Galaxy out of the box basically. Like I hadn't really gotten a chance to look at the things. And
but was it 200-point Galactus that he was playing with?
It was a 200-point Galactus, yeah. But it still had multi-attack. And
yeah. No, I mean that 200 points is amazing still.
Yeah. That Galactus. He's like the team base. If he doesn't get momentum right off the bat, he has no legs to stand on.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm noticing about that team base is if you can get it off its legs, it won't get going. But if it gets going, it's a freight train of hell.
Well, that seems to be the case with the zombies in general because of the Z virus aspect, right? It is a slower start. Like they are clearly alpha strikeable. In comparison to other styles of characters. What do you think of the addition of Angel, Psylocke, and Rogue to the X-Men team base?
Well, the Angel himself is I haven't checked his face ability yet. I haven't studied them too much. Dial-wise, they're great. Low point figures that actually have a lot of decent output from them. Like the Psylocke 62 points and easy to spend 62 points. As far as the metagame, I don't see them hitting my team builds. If I do happen to decide like an X-Men blue team base is what I'm going to play, or an X-Men gold team base is going to play, they'll definitely find themselves in the game and find themselves off of the base because as they stand, they're pretty strong. In the 300-point realm, though, I mean the blue and the gold I don't think are at their peak at 300 points. They're actually their lower end. So you end up losing a lot of their clicks, and you have to end up playing them a little later in the dial. So I haven't studied the full dials. I know I can definitely see myself and Amber playing with them on our channel, and we're probably going to give them a try to see if we can, make them work, make them happen, make wacky things happen with them. I do like them. I like the idea of the whole monthly OP kit as well. The extra figures to put on team bases is always good. More options with older things like. I like that they're going back with some things, like the team bases, and saying, you know what, we didn't forget about this.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. It seems like they nerfed it, and people just kind of abandoned them, except for a select couple of them, especially competitively. And so now they're trying to add something to it. May not make them necessarily more competitive, but it makes them a lot more fun to play.
Well, one of the things I did notice is Jake Williams played the Justice League at Worlds, and his change was he took the strategy game figures and threw them on his team base. I didn't think about the potential on them because that late dial Superman is actually really good. The late dial Wonder Woman is is it Wonder Woman? I know the late dial Batman was definitely very good. So they're actually worth solo adventuring, and he did pretty well with it. He said I remember hearing somebody talk to him at one point. And he said he made a major mistake in one of his games that cost him his chance at the top 4, I think. Yeah, because he made top 8, I believe, and then his round to get to the top 4. He made a bit of an error that he regrets a lot. He talks about it a fair bit, I've seen. Hoping to get him on the show actually very soon to talk clix. But yeah, some team bases are finding their way back with these new additions too. We might see a resurgence of the blue team base with the new Psylocke, the new Rogue. Gold team base was never really present. It was always kind of around, but never really made a big showing. I know I saw one guy play it at Canadian Nationals, but apparently he blundered his army sheet pretty bad, and he also, I think, the second round he was under the camera, so I didn't see that game, but it might have been streamed live, so if somebody else has seen that game, how did it go for him? Because I saw him walk out after that round, too.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. But I know the gold team has this weird ability where you can pop a character off and all of a sudden your attack rolls an 11, which is a scary idea.
Yeah, just pop it off immediately. You can do a lot more.
One thing I really wish was a little bit more playable in the competitive meta would be the X-Men and the Avengers team base because of all the radically different builds you can come up on that now. I mean, not just the starter point figures, but some of the participation prize figures, as well as some figures from Deadpool became playable on those. And it's just, I wish there was more to the 200-point version of it. I think that one was kind of a missed opportunity but at the same time, it was also team-based. They're giving it to everybody. So I get. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
access. Yeah. On another note, I had an interesting question for you. I've been talking a lot lately, and it's not really necessarily even related to style so much, but I've been talking a lot about copycat lately and how it may not be necessarily even viable in competitive play anymore. And we have an ROC coming up in what is it, in March, I think?
March 7th in Windsor. Yeah.
March here in
No
Canada.
plug for you, Dan.
I'm really looking forward to because it's a clean slate. It's a no entities, no resources, no tactics. So it's just going to be playing the figures as they are. And I'm wondering whether we're going to see Copycat come back for that because you can't use the Nerfs. You can't regen out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just wondering if that would become, in your opinion, a competitive piece again.
Well, she becomes present again. But one of the things is Copycat worked well on the New Mutants team. And one of the things about that ROC format is that there's nothing bigger than a peanut base allowed.
Right.
So Colossals and team bases are out because team bases are all 2x4 unless they make like a peanut base team base. So that said, her presence becomes a threat, but it's a matter of what kind of team can be built with her that can become threatening, and then what kind of team can you build where you're not worried about her. And one of the common things that dealt with her very early, I know ROC did this, called this Silver Age last year, but they also allowed entity possession. So back then it was Iron Pharaoh was present with Bullseye with entity possession at the time. Now take away the entity possession, you still got Iron Pharaoh with Bullseye and Blind Owl and Weasel and Bill that just kind of temper or make those two figures really work. As well, Phantom X is worthless because bystanders are tactics. But like those, Bullseye
Still good, right? Sorry.
Yeah, well, Iron Pharaoh is still absolutely. He was actually wrecking house before in the ROC season before the resources started getting added in.
Right.
So Iron Pharaoh is one of those things. He's a threat in all formats. So and at 110 points, he's immune from copycat theft. Same with Bullseye, right? So if you pull those two, or if you choose those two characters with a good, I guess I got to say the word again, pit crew. Haven't said that word in years. But yeah, you put them with a good pit crew, and then all of a sudden, your choice is use Copycat to take Bill and give me a 60-point gain, or you suffer and you have to use Copycat now. So it's a matter of can you build that team around making Copycat useful.
I think my question though with Iron Pharaoh is the actual Pharaoh. Is that not considered a tactic as well? No.
No, it's the bird is a special terrain marker.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's one of those things that's little quirks about the rules. It's just that because it's not in order to make it not killable, they made it special terrain, which you can't like with special terrain. That has no rules really, except the rules that are printed on that special terrain piece.
Instead of just making a bystander token that says cannot be killed.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Okay.
That's how they got around it. As well, it's like what's the character from Amazing Spider-Man? Layla? I don't know. She had this weird thing where she made a special marker that anybody standing on it got probability control. It's the same thing. You can't destroy that. It's just kind of there.
Do you have any hints towards your team for that coming up? I mean, this is a big broadcast, so you may not want to do much.
Well, you know, when it comes down to it, I kind of want to know what I'm playing too. I've spent actually a lot of time realizing recently that I'm in a war against the clock perpetually. Work has been really busy for me lately. The channel's been keeping me really busy lately. So I haven't really had a chance to work out what I want to play in the 300-point metagame where I'm not allowed to use resources or anything like that. Because right now, like in my head, I can just instantly go resource to do this, and this, and that's kind of been my crutch to fill in the blank, right?
Right.
And as a guy who, like I said, I like to play stylistically to fill in the blanks, Copycat all of a sudden is one of those blanks I got to fill in just to be safe, 100% safe. But subsequently is am I just going to play the same team everybody else is going to play, or am I going to play the team that beats that and other things, or am I going to surprise people? I mean, I know in Nationals, when I built that team initially, I was like, hey, you know what? This promotion ability is neat. I wonder how I can improve the number of times that I get it off. Well, if I give everybody a Book of Skulls, they're actually hitting attacks now, and they get movement attack. And then that like my whole goal with that team was to say, you know what? Let's see how the 10th anniversary abilities work with the Book of Skulls. And then all of a sudden, the team just kind of snowballed into something that was working for me. And I became also untweakable, because every time I thought about a tweak that I could make to it, I was just like, I can't do that because I lose way too much of my team.
Right.
So one thing that like Jay gives me a hard time about, and I did consider, was trying to fit the Green Goblin in there, because at 75 points he's 4 damage with running shot with a 6 range,
Yeah.
and willpower as well, which is actually very awesome. So, but at the same time, I was trying to max out the potential on the Book of Skulls. So if I give the Green Goblin a hammer from the Book of Skulls, is what am I giving him that is really functional on him? Giving him charge is a bad idea because he's got willpower. When he gets punched back, he's going to feel it, and his dial drops really quick.
Right.
Now, that being said, now that I've talked about the team that I've talked about 1,000 times, when I go into this ROC format, I'm looking at certain characters that are coming back. Like, I'm looking at Brother Voodoo again very intently. Like, I'm very, very much seeing Brother Voodoo as coming back. But then I also see, oh, well, somebody's going to play Copycat. Brother Voodoo's going to be on the other side of the board now, right?
Yeah, I can see Banshee being in there as well. Although, then he's copycatable as well. And
it's like, all of a sudden, every character, you're like, wait a second, that's copycatable. Fuck, that sucks.
I think she's gonna make a return. I don't know. I'm playing around with a weaponer team, of course, as you saw on our page here. But I'm just trying to make it so that it's still safeguarded against her. Maybe do weaponer with copycat. Or no, I can't because it's 1 point over. Yeah. See, that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it's 211 points.
Yeah, just for that. Yeah.
It's like, well, this weaponer required's coming out soon. Maybe we shouldn't give her the. Let's make him 211. No 90-point figures. None of that.
We'll see any OMAs.
Wow, one-man armies I hate more than tentpoles. Mostly because I hate playing against them. I've played against them an awful lot, and it's one of those things where I built a team, you have a guy, and your guy is giving me a hard time. That's my end of it. But as far as the one-man armies that are available, we have Thanos, Tyrant, but that'll leave you at a 5-point deficit. But Tyrant I see as a threat in a resource-free environment because of that potentially either roll off or half your damage, right?
Yeah.
So you either deal no damage or half your damage. It's a frightening concept, as well as he can potentially turn around and say, well, you know what, now that I've got Impervious, I'm going to delete the damage that you're doing the next turn. Yeah, Tyrant does scare me. Thanos less than Tyrant. I mean, Thanos has big numbers, and he does have that thing where he's doing damage at the start of the turn, or at the start of the game, but that damage isn't penetrating, so your opponent gets to divvy it up himself.
Right. Well, I think of Tyrant as anti-swarm, really.
Yeah.
Because of his energy explosion right off the bat, plus high attack to begin with, and really crazy high defense. Like, what is it, 12 and 19? Yeah, so 12 attack, 19 defense. Yeah, it's a little nuts, but I'm not. I think I can see a way through it anyway. Yeah,
I mean, when it comes down to it, the tentpole is it's got one big weakness, and that's being out actioned, right? If your opponent can turn around, and when you at some point you've got to move out, which is problem number one. You've got to do it on your own. With a one-man army, you are doing all your moving yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have somebody to go TK you over. You don't have somebody to perplex up your values. What you have is you and that one character. Now, what they become susceptible to, of course, is the out-actioning, which is why I don't like giving up that advantage in a game of Heroclix. And every opponent I've beaten with every team I've built has looked at me and said, "Damn, you just out-actioned the hell out of me," right? And I mean, with the combination of free actions and having more characters on the board. But Tyrant, I would say is a threat. I would say Thanos equally a threat, but not as scary in this format. I have to get a look again at the 300-point Necron because he becomes an option. Oh no, wrong format. Sorry, we're thinking the ROC format, right?
Yeah.
Necron is not playable in that.
Oh,
Who else is there? The Specter sits at 250, so no, not so bad. But yeah.
So I mean, you saw Jay's build. That's actually a really good build, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was kind of saying on the topic of the one-man army to, you know what though? I didn't even think of this. The House Sinestro is scary as well.
That's pretty good too. Or even Sodom Yat. I mean, Sodom Yat with a Jean Grey, for instance, pop. Or even just a blue recruit. I mean, if you want to max out the points right there, it's just bounce them around the board. Yeah.
One of the things I got to say that I really like about Sodom Yat is he very much rewards reckless play.
Big time.
Yeah, it's just I throw myself in there. I do a bunch of damage to you. All right, I'm better now. It's like, yeah, he's everything I've ever wanted in a Hulk figure.
More durable than any Hulk figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're going to be doing with the Hulk now. I'm thinking about it because World Breaker's on his way out soon in the next cuts. Oh, but we have the Avengers set, and I saw Hulk in there, so it's a matter of how good is he.
And when is the cutoff anyway? When are they going to be retiring? Up until Wolverine and the X-Men and the Superman set that came out then?
I think Wolverine and the X-Men is going to be.
That'll be valid, but before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be anything before Wolverine and the X-Men. I think the Superman movie set will definitely be out. Not that it really mattered. Amazing Spider-Man's gone, which is frightening because that was such a good set.
Really good set. Yeah.
That was a come out of nowhere set, to be honest. When I first saw all the previews that they were giving the worst previews for this set. It's like, here's Dracula and some vampires. Well, Dracula's kind of cool. The vampires are alright, but it's like Dracula and vampires, whatever. It's like, here's werewolves. Well, what are you showing me? I don't understand. The previews were the worst thing for that set. Like, I think the previews were the most damaging thing for that set. And then the set came out, and then I played sealed with it, and I fell in love with the sealed element of it, and I started playing more and more sealed games with that set. The commons in that set were some of the best in the game, and then even, characters like Ghost Rider were amazing. The Doctor Strange was really good. A lot got added to the mystical team, which is another one that I kind of forgot to bring up with the ROC format being flipped back. Is resources add a level of hole coverage in teams. Mysticals just has that hole coverage.
Yeah.
Right.
So. No, absolutely. Yeah. I think we'll probably end up seeing some Star Sapphires out there as well. I mean, the Shape Change Mystics combo is really, really nasty. Even you may, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can still. Oh no, because it's peanut based. Never mind. I was gonna say playing.
Peanut base is allowed. You can it's nothing bigger than a peanut base.
Okay, well then, as herself rather than as the possessor, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I do forget is that the entities themselves are characters. The only thing that you won't get, the only advantage you won't get out of them in the ROC format is the possession after death. So then it becomes a matter of, are each of these entities worth the points that for putting them on the board without that? I feel like entity itself would be the frustrating one to play against, because it's got I think 3 or 4 different stop clicks with the regen, and it's just you put it in there, you hit it, go ahead, I dare you. It's another one that can reward some really careless play with it, but more or less to tie up your team while something else that you have can be wrecking house.
Well, I think of Butcher.
Yeah.
He is, as an actual character, he's just lethal. Huge and just crazy high attack. But I do think of Predator as well, because on the last 3, it's click 6 on, you've got this ability that allows you to give everybody within range mind control. So imagine the possibilities. Like when she gets down to that value, you're going to want to back her off anyway. You back her off, and everybody else, because she's 175 points, you still got like Iron Pharaoh even out there, and he can use mind control then as well. I mean, if you wanted the option, right? I'm just spitballing at this point. But there's a lot of options just with that ability. You back her off so that they don't have mind control.
Yeah, You know what? One of the funniest things I always keep telling people is they keep talking about this, the mind controls and the metagame and everything like that. And all of a sudden, every time somebody says that, I want to find characters that are awesome with Battle Fury. Because, like, all right, I don't want to deal with mind control. What do I have with Battle Fury? But then I lose the advantage of any kind of range that I would possibly want. And but that's also one of those things that you were saying with Butcher's awesome himself. And because Butcher does get Battle Fury down his dial, it becomes a hard counter for a lot of mind control, which is out there. So he can slog his way down without being worried about hitting yourself or getting moved away by somebody or being repositioned.
Or even Red Specter. I mean, Red Specter has the choice to make to get Battle Fury or not, right? Yeah. At the beginning of every single turn. So that's a hard counter for that right there.
I honestly, because of the decoy, I have never tried to find so many ways to give characters Battle Fury in a single game. I was so happy that so many of the Red Lanterns had the option, because decoy is on Sodom yet, right? Now he has 2 rollouts. How do I get rid of each of those rollouts? I got penetrating damage here, and I've got Battle Fury here. Okay, so I can limit things down to you get no rollouts, right? And I actually call it karma. I don't know if you saw my month 4 recap of the World Light, but yeah, I had the Red Lantern Specter, and I had to play against 3 Sodom Yats. It was like karmically aligned. It's like, all right, you want to win with Weaponer? You want to win with Sodom Yat? Guess what? Play 3 of them, and you don't get one. It's like, oh, karma's got a sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I think what really got you there too, though, was the fact that you had to kind of fill in the blanks, and it wasn't really a perfect fit. You know, the remaining pieces. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had Specter and Rancor, so it was a theme team, so I had some team props, which I never really got a chance to use a great deal of, because Rancor was never in the right position, and by the time he was in the right position, he was dead.
I was thinking about just like loading up the power battery to be able to put it in, rather than optimally choosing which pieces are actually going to go onto it, right?
Yeah, I put everything on it. that was the thing. Is like I had Rancor, because we were playing a 400-point tournament. It was Rancor and Specter, and I had no room for anything else. It was like fill up the power battery and put a red ring on it. Let's see how this goes. And
push fingers.
The one game I did lose, I honestly, it comes down to a shape change roll that he made, and it was when I didn't have the ability to give myself Battle Fury because I was playing the full point version. Right. Taking advantage of my 10 range, I had the Sodom Yat dead to rights, and he had the decoy, and I was like, uh-oh, he gets that roll. Rolled the shape change. Well, that's the game. Because I was going to deal 8 damage with that attack.
Yeah.
And had I done the 8 damage, I would have probably still had my power battery. Because that was the next turn my power battery died, so my +3 on everything to my Specter was gone, and my +2
I know, you pushed it right to the limit, and then somebody took advantage of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that was the other weakness of that team, was like I had no choice but to sit back because Specter doesn't have a movement attack ability. Rancor has sidestep, but I had to use his barrier to protect my Specter while I was spinning the dial on my power plant or power battery. And that had to be my strategy for that one, which is a very dangerous strategy. It's not like the Gauntlet where it's like I'm just taking actions. I'm gonna roll that thing. Eventually, I'm gonna hit Godhood and I'll be fine. You know, you get to the major clicks on the power battery, and now it's at a threat of death, and your opponent gets that choice too.
Oh yeah. The one thing I'd love to see more of in future sets is on-map resources that are semi-vulnerable. I would love to see that. I think it makes it much more interesting, and there's so many more possibilities to the actual gameplay. Although, you know, that being said, the green power battery is really, or any power battery is really hard to kill if they're early in the dial, because what are they, 21 clicks, I think?
Yeah, click 20 is their last click, so it takes 20 clicks of damage to get it to the end.
Well, yeah,
try to click one, right?
To attack it is very, very specific, right?
Yeah. You don't get any bonuses to your damage. It's like it's your printed damage. So like a character like Dove is gonna do nothing, or you know even Destiny, who can do range combat expert, you can't use it that way.
No.
So one of the things I am noticing too is the other power battery emotional spectrums are kind of mediocre in comparison to the green, with the exception of Indigo. And I was having a conversation with Jordan about that many months ago, where I was like, you know what, I love X, 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 and X spectrum colors. You know, I think me and Amber were definitely going after orange, yellow, violet and red, and those are the ones we really wanted. And indigo and blue happened to be packaged in with the two that we really, really wanted, or that I really, really wanted. And then I've made a joke with Jordan. Is like, you know what, with my luck, the one that's going to be the most meta playable is going to be the indigo one. And then I look at the emotional spectrum, Billy. I was like, are you kidding me? You get 4 range. Oh.
It makes Indigo Sinestro so much better too. I mean, other than the emotional spectrum power, which is unbelievable, that it may be better than the green one, marginally better, just because of the range restriction. But yeah, yeah, no, it may make Indigo Sinestro actually viable. You know.
One of the things I'm noticing too with the green and the indigo is you get that shift in the game where when I'm building my team now, what do I plan against? Do I plan to be playing against a green power battery where I'm only going to be taking 1 action at a time, and I'm not taking a great abundance of free actions, so Bullseye and Iron Pharaoh do well in that. But in an indigo-filled environment, it's a matter of, oh my god, do I want a bunch of guys that I don't care if I'm within 4 squares of my opponent? Am I going to be able to, crash my opponent's starting area with it? Am I playing with it so that my opponent also only gets 4 range, right? So all of a sudden, it could be an indigo versus indigo fight that happens in the middle of the map. So I know a lot of people are going to love that metagame, but then all of a sudden, free actions come back in that metagame, right? So like, if I'm planning to play against the indigo tribe, then I'm not worried about losing all my free actions. And hello again, brother Voodoo, or anybody who takes awesome amounts of free actions, right? Can you imagine the metagame where you got to think about those 2 things?
No, yeah. Well, I think if you coupled a sniper on somebody who's pulse waving, then they have 5 range, which would counter that by 1 square. It's not very much of a counter, but it does in some minor way. So you have 1 square difference between you and the opposing characters. Tough.
Yeah, I mean it's a scary idea where those two power batteries become the strong thing. And then we are going to lose the hyper offensive, the 2 I think hyper offensive in the next cuts.
Yeah.
We're going to lose the Book of Skulls, and we're probably going to lose the utility belt as well. And then all of a sudden, all of the resources that are going to be out at that point are less offensive, more utility. I think the most offensive one at the time, once that hits, is going to be the Phoenix. And even that's got to be one of the hardest dials to move.
Yeah. Well, that and the Mandarin power plant is going to be very, very viable at that point too. I mean, it already is. It's just I think that may be the go-to, other than the green power battery or indigo power batteries, which are out there, which will be out there then.
Yeah, because one of the things that I really liked about the power battery, the power plant, is that they don't add numbers as much as they add ability.
Right.
It's not like the Book of Skulls where it's like, well, I get +2 attack and charge and range and blah, 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 blah. Add everything, right?
I think they're trying to separate it so that resources are more utility-based, and then, the entity, the actual introduction of entities is more actual about the actual stat, the stat raising.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if in future sets we see other possessors. They may not be talking about it. What are they going to do? Are they going to nerf the entity stuff that people are spending hundreds of dollars on to get their hands on right now, and make it so that if you have a resource entities, the guys who are possessed can't use the resource benefit? I don't know. That might not jive with people.
If there was going to be a nerf, we'd have heard about it by now. And I don't think we're going to see one because of what you just said. I mean, I think this is going to be the first time where we see WizKids actually thinking with a great deal of forethought. We have them looking ahead and saying, okay, well, once these resources are gone, these entities become less of a major issue, right? Because they're a major issue because of utility belt Book of Skulls. And they probably went to the rules team and went, well, okay, when we use the entities with these things, they become pretty powerful. And they'll look at it and say, you know what, in the modern metagame, that's not a problem now. Because when we come to the next modern metagame, we're getting rid of these things that make these things exponentially amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I do see like where people are coming from. When you got stat boosts on top of stat boosts, yeah, okay, it's a little powerful. But when you see this thing, it's right now it's the big smoke cloud and then when everything kind of, the dust settles and everything like that, something's going to be gone, and everything's going to be kind of evened out again.
Well, I do notice that people are saying the term game breaking less and less as it goes on. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it first came out, it was just, they were like, oh my god, what is this? Now I'm never going to play again. And I'm like, okay, we'll see you later. I'm going to try this out. This is going to be fun.
And 90% of the thing that makes the entities great is not the entity. It's the choice of character with the entity.
Yeah.
Prime example would be the Dragon Con team of Patrick and Joko using Triplicate Girl, a Book of Skulls, and Ion. All those triplicates become absolutely nuts, but because of that particular choice, you know? Triplicate Girl was a good choice to put Ion on, get the maximum potential out of the 4 things that you get from Ion. The Book of Skulls is already pretty awesome with Triplicate Girl, so you got the 3 guys all able to do something with flight, and I mean 3 Triplicate Girls with charge and empower. That's the first one attacks for 2, the next one attacks for 3, and the next one attacks for 4. Yep. They're charging, and I think they have charge and flurry.
They all have outwit.
Yeah, and they all have outwit and impervious.
And then later in the dial, they all have probability control.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probability control right there. It's just nuts. Yeah. If you have Hope Summers next to them, then you've got 4 probability controls. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. And that's where I see the argument is being missed in the entities. Is everybody says the entities are the powerful thing. Well, no, the entities aren't the powerful thing. It's this powerful character with the entity, right? Yeah. Like the Ophidian on Iron Pharaoh. Now Iron Pharaoh has Pulse Wave, and he doesn't have to be anywhere near you to Pulse Wave you.
Yeah.
That's a scary idea. And that's also why I think the guy that got second place in the world, he chose Silver Centurion.
Right.
Because that becomes a hard counter to Ophidian.
Right.
Because Silver Centurion's like, oh, Pulse Wave. Well, I don't take damage from Pulse Wave. And then he put Parallax Entity on it, which gave him the Quintessence Perplex Down white power. Which.
Can you do the same thing with Absorbing Man?
What's that?
Can you do the same thing with Absorbing Man? That would be a pretty good counter for that as well.
It would be, but one of the things about Absorbing Man is you still kind of rely on that roll-off, whereas Silver Centurion actively ignores the damage from Psychic Blast and Pulse Wave. So he's like, okay, well, you hit me.
Thanks. You're nice. Yeah.
You're so pleasant. You're so tickle again. Tickle fight. So now we're way off the rails there.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm not offended. Don't worry.
Yeah. So we're hitting about the hour mark right now, and I'm kind of running out of topics here. So I guess at this point, have you, in recent weeks, come across anything that is new, has surprised you, you kind of thought about would be a neat combination that you want to share, or you don't think you should share and are going to share anyway?
I think I'm going to keep it to myself because there are a few, and we've actually talked a little bit about some of them on our page here. But yeah, I'd like to keep them a little closer to the chest at this point because they are pretty much all things that I would like to try, if not use, in the future. Yeah. But there's a lot of exciting possibilities out there. I mean, you know, game breaking becomes game making. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
Something brand new. Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
All right, cool. Myself, I've been looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy set finally. It's only been, how long has it been out now? 3-4 weeks. A few things that stand out, of course, Mantis and Proxima Midnight, as I've never heard the end of Proxima from Jordan. And Mantis because Patrick got Mantis all the way out there. And the funny thing is, Patrick considered Mantis like a cheap prob.
30 ATA.
Yep. The Guardians of the Galaxy ATAs becomes a threat again because of some of those characters that are out there. Like, you'll have a whole bunch of characters with half the effect of Paracosmic. I have found Star-Lord's ability to share defenses to be really cool with a Groot on the board, especially early game. A couple of the characters in the set I saw had Energy Shield, which more the older school Guardians. So if you combine them with like the Groot and the Star-Lord, I couldn't fit it into 300 points effectively, but I mean, I'm still working on it. What else kind of shocked me? I haven't had a chance to really dissect the Thanosi as a one-man army either. It doesn't sell me as much as the Thanos himself. I don't think Beyonder is going to be an issue.
I was just going to say Beyonder's not all that good.
Yeah.
No,
I'm thinking back on the one-man army conversation. There is one-man army I completely forgot about who is a threat and is going to be a threat until Superman the Legion of Superiors gets phased out, and that's Bizarro.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like, Bizarro will be everybody's nightmare because he's so hard to kill. It takes 12 active attacks to kill him if you play a full 300-point one, right? So you've got to find a way to attack him 12 times. And that's assuming this is a Bizarro who's been played at 300 points and without a healer, right? There's characters you can put down there that might be. So we might see a return of support. We might see a Bizarro team that plays a Blue Lantern, and all of a sudden that late game defend support combo becomes a thing.
Proxima is a counter, a semi-counter anyway.
Yeah, she's a semi-counter because that token will sit there.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden the Bizarro is hard pressed to actually kill the Proxima and focus his one extra per turn on the Proxima.
Now let me ask you: can you put more than one tracer on a character?
I haven't. I think it's whenever you hit a character, they get a tracer. So it could be. I'll just pull up the HC Realms page because I kind of want to look like I'm doing my homework and I have played with the character. Begins the game with 3. Proxa has a range value and a number of tracer cards, so 3 times the number. Has a number of bolts. When she hits a ranged combat attack, remove a tracer token from this card and place it on a hit character if it doesn't already have one.
Okay, yeah. There it is. There's the wording. Yeah.
So yeah, you're only going to get the one tracer on people. So now I know there's rumors flying around, and I think he might have actually said it in Glass Cap in this interview. I missed the first 12 minutes of his interview with them, but I think Patrick mentioned something about having his chameleon that he's making copy traits.
Yes.
Which becomes a very frightening thing with quite a few characters who have some awesome traits. So I don't want to start talking about that because it's all hypothetical fantasy play at that point. But that could be majorly game changing with the right traits, but it could also be an awesome trait on a terrible character. You know what I mean? So
imagine if he had that and he had terrible stats and he was worth 150 plus points.
Yeah.
Just ruin him entirely.
Absolutely, right? I mean, and that's one of those things I think Daniel Joines had mentioned when he was in. There's a design. He had an interview with regards to how did the design go and making the character of this Mr. Sinister. And apparently the original idea that Daniel had given them for Mr. Sinister, they were like, well, no, this is a 400-point character. And then he had to really dial it back. And I'm like, I haven't. The Sinister didn't break the metagame because we didn't see him. But I feel like he became a shell of what he probably was originally intended, and who knows what could happen with that chameleon, right? It could just it could start out awesome, and then they'll return it back and say, look, he's not that good. Come on now.
That's what I thought Hope Summers was, right? I thought that I could pair Hope Summers with Proxima Midnight and double roll on those, like, not do double tokens or double tracers because that happens at the beginning of the game, but do double rolls on the individual tokens, so you'd be doing 2 instead of 1 per, up to 2 anyway, because it's still based on a roll. Right. Yeah, but no such luck. It's only what's on the dial.
Yeah. So.
What a piss off. Although Hope and Weaponer, maybe. What do you think?
I think Hope needs more damage to make that very awesome, but at the same time, I can see the potential where if Hope could choose the right attack power, get a full movement action, you could have 2 poisoners there. There's potential there. I honestly want to kind of dial it back in my building. I want to go back to the Phoenix Force. I want to see what I can do with that thing again.
Yeah, it's a valid resource for sure.
Yeah. And like I've seen it played on a lot of tentpole teams, one-man army Bizarro team.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I want to bring it back and see if I can go back to my swarm strategy again. But that's thinking ahead to like Worlds and Nationals. Thinking forward to the ROC, I've got to sit down with my bins and just kind of stare at figures this time because I kind of lost that mindset of the old day that I used to have where it was like, okay, well, what figures interact well with each other? without something else that's going to happen. And I mean, I don't think it's making me a worse player. I think it's changing my mindset. I got to kind of get out of that. And I might find myself leaning on the safe bet with the Iron Pharaoh Bullseye Pit Crew team. But I do also want to. I mentioned it to Jay when we were in our pre-talk and before his connection dropped on us. Was we have 2 sets coming up before our next ROC. We have the Flash, and we have the Trinity War.
Yeah, that'll change things.
Yeah, Trinity War. Trinity War. I'm at a loss because I don't know what could be changing, and we have CSA characters coming, and if those CSA characters have the CSA team ability, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to use it, but the way it works is a character with that team ability can use probability control. And in a similar way to a Steam prop, you have to give an action token to a character, but it's not necessarily that character. It can just be a character on your team.
Right.
Right. So all of a sudden, I'm using probability control to start pumping tokens on my bill. And like we're going to see a resurgence of that team ability, and I don't know if the characters who are going to be using that team ability are great or not.
I think we're going to see Pandora come back.
Yeah, you might see I can see Pandora come. Like that's the thing is the Trinity of Sin characters become very valid in that resource-free environment because they're stopping out wit. Well, no, that's been strange too, but they're stopping perplex and probability control.
Control characters entirely. Yeah, just control characters. I think in the preview for Trinity War they were showing the sins or whatever, the actual there's a little resource base and then sins in it. I was hoping that those would be more possessors, but because they're on a resource, it kind of like indicates that it won't be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it could be that they're possessors, that they have to enter the game as possessors. You have the resource on the back, and as like if your character gets killed, then they go back onto the base or onto the resource and create some kind of an ability that affects everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or kind of like a possessing Book of Skulls, if you will.
Exactly.
But my big hopes for that are, one, that they stick to the utility theme that they're going with resources. I don't want to see another +2 attack, plus a million movement, damage, and whatever. I want to see kind of that. I want to see them stick to that utility standard that they've been going with, because I want to increase the thinking in this game. It's a strategy game, and for a little while there, we were doing a lot of numbers gaming. I was guilty of it. And I went more of my strategy was in my team build than in my team play, where my team play was let's get all the things on the things and make the damage happen.
Yeah.
Where I was doing more thinking about how to make that possibly happen with my build. And I want to kind of move it on to let's keep the strategy on the table and let's make sure positioning is important. Everything kind of ends up in its right place. And I want to see how those two different, like it's 2 different resources with the same relics or same source of use. So I want to see how that functionality comes into play. Are the 2 resources massively different? One kind of looks like the build that was the Infinity Gauntlet, so is that going to be the one that says everything on one character and let's make a one-man RV a little bit more utility, or is it going to be I don't know. I'm speculating on that, but
yeah, but honestly, spitballing along the same lines, it could be that one is for a what do you call it, the crowd, and one is for the OMA, right? Yeah. Or even just a temple. It could be that one is for one and one is for the other. That would be interesting.
Yep. Oh, we're about to wrap, and Jordan just came online. He just woke up.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. That's all right. I think he'll be okay with with us not having our guest and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that said, we're gonna call it a day for today. I want to thank Michael for joining us on the show and joining the team now. You're on call on Sundays.
Oh, wow. Commitment? What? All right, fine.
Hey, you know what? You get a chance to talk to some good minds. We're hoping so. And that said, it's my pleasure as usual to plug Carta Magica in a couple hours. I believe usually around between 1 and 2 o'clock at twitch.tv/CartaMagicaTV. They'll be live streaming their Sunday games of Heroclix. Their games are a little bit more thematic and not so meta as our show, but we've had a pleasure meeting those guys at Nationals, Michael as well. Great guys to watch play. They have a good camera angle on the board, so you get a good idea of what's going on. So if you want to watch some nice, fun games, they're usually themes. So it'll be like Red Lanterns versus Yellow Lanterns or something along those lines. I'm really pushing for them to do DC Zombies versus Marvel Zombies one day, and Black Lanterns versus the Marvel Zombies. I want to see them play that one out. But yeah, keep an eye on Twitch TV for that. I personally subscribe to the channel, and I often do watch it with my Sunday afternoons. That said, thank you for everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.